Alright, let's go to the next part of this, and I'm going to move this by going Control X, which is cut, and I'm just going to put it down here, Control V, which is paste. And now I'm going to get rid of this D column. I don't think I want it. So as you go through any spreadsheet, I mean, you're going to be making changes for presentation. So I mean, it's just one of the things you have to deal with. So I want to have here a row of years, dividends, didn't spell that right, terminal value, and here present value. And now we're going to have price. And I'm going to make this wider. You just double click. If you want to automatically make the column width right, you just come up here and double click and it will size it properly. Okay, so we're going to go from year 1 all the way to year 20. And what you can do is you can type 1 and 2, and then you can start to drag that. And you see Excel's figured, hey, he wants to count by ones. And you keep dragging it until you get to 20, because we're going to 20 years, which is a little silly, but you'll see why I want to do that a little bit later on. Alright, so now for the dividend, I'm going to say we're growth model, non-constant growth model, but for now, just doing the constant growth. And I'm going to add complexity as we go. So the dividend is going to be equal to the current dividend times open parenthesis 1 plus the growth rate. Alright, and now to copy this over, I need to do equal to the dividend before it times 1 plus the growth rate, but press F4 because I want to lock that down. And now I can copy this all the way across to 20. And by the way, I know I'm going to have dollar amounts here, so all of these are going to be in dollar amounts. So I'm going to go ahead and hit that comma button to make it format a little bit better. Okay, so now let's look at the terminal value. So to come over here to the terminal value, and what I'm going to do now, so you can see this better, so I'm going to hide these rows. So highlight them, hide, and now I can see everything in one screen. So the terminal value is going to be equal to, and this is the price, so imagine, just so you can see theoretically what's going on, the value of any financial assets, the present value, the expected future cash flows. So right now I'm trying to generate the expected future cash flows. If the dividends grow at 2% per year, those are going to be the dividends for the next 20 years. And in year 20, you can sell the stock. What's the value of the stock? The value of the stock under constant growth is the dividend next year divided by K minus G. So the dividend next year is the dividend this year times 1 plus the growth rate, and then I want to divide that by K minus that growth rate of G, $60.63. Now I want the present value of the expected future cash flows, so what I do is equal to the cash flow in year 1 divided by 1 plus a discounted K, that's a required return. Press F4 because when I copy this over, I want it to stay the same. Close parenthesis, raise it to the power of the year in which it occurs. And now I can copy this all the way across. And to make sure I copied right, pick one of these at random, double click, and see what lights up. Yep, it's dividend divided by 1 plus K to the 17th. That worked perfectly. Now I'm just going to show you the mistake here. If you were to have done this, and you can just do F4, that toggles through the dollar signs. So if you did this and copied it over, those numbers would be wrong. And when I double click right here, let me double click. When I double click right here, see, I'm not referencing K like I thought I was. So I'm going to undo that, double check, make sure I have this right, and I do. In this last year though, I get two things. Not only do I get Y4, I get Y5, but I gotta make sure I'm paying attention to order of operations and put those in parentheses. And there we go. So that's the present value of all the future cash flows. So I need to sum them up. To sum them up, if you press Alt equal, it's going to know that you want to sum something. It's going to guess what you want to sum. In this case, it guesses wrong. That's okay. You just highlight, I want to sum those up, equals to $40.80. Is that right? Yeah, of course that's right, because you've already calculated out here that's 40.80. So I could put here, if I want, I could put that in red. That's my result. I mean, I could do different things to show that result. If I wanted to put a border around what I wanted to do, and I could also make this in red and bold. Okay, so now here's the next part. I'm going to add two things here. So I'm going to insert, shift down. I want to insert again, shift down. I need a short term growth, and I want to know the years to terminal. I'm just going to put terminal G right there. So I want someone to come in and be able to choose. Oh, by the way, and I have another one right here. I insert, shift down, model, and I want to have this not in bold, and I want to have constant growth or non-constant growth. So I'm going to go down here to the very bottom, control down. I'm going to have C for constant, NC for non-constant. Control up, come back here to the model. I want to do data validation. I'm going to choose from a list. My source is way down here, right there. Okay, and then control up. Here I can choose this model C or NC, right? And I can also go here, because that's in NC and C doesn't mean much. I can put a message here, call this model choice. Try to spell choice correctly. I didn't mean to hit enter. And come back to the message and put C means constant. NC means, non-constant. And you can give whatever message you want to, but the good thing here is I want to have C and NC because that's going to be easy for me to deal with. Alright, this growth rate, the short term, years to be just in a number, maybe 7 years, and the short-term growth rate, maybe I'll put that at 25%. So what I want to happen now is I want the, and I don't need that for no decimals there, I want the dividend to grow at 25% for 7 years. Let's move it to 4 so you can see it. I want it to grow at 25% for 4 years, and then 2% after that, and I want to see what the price is going to be. So I got to make a change here. So what I need to have here is some sort of if statement. I want you to think through that. That's the part I want you to struggle with. I need to have an if statement that says basically two things. If they choose NC, and if it's less than the number of years, then I want you to grow at 20% or 25%, and if it's not both of those things, grow at the terminal growth rate of 2%. So you need to have an AND statement. So if you go to Formula, Insert Function, type AND. The first time you do any of these functions, it's best to do it like this. Click Go. There's AND. Click OK. And AND gives you these arguments. You can say something just to figure out what they're like. You can go through those different arguments. So that's what you have to figure out on your own. Good luck. One of the things I would say is when you do this, the last tip, I want to make sure the dividends are growing at the right rate. So you can do equal this divided by that minus 1, and that tells me those dividends are growing at 2%. You can copy that across and see they're growing all the time at 2%. So when you when you make this set where some will grow at 25%, like for the first 4 years, do this little check and make sure they're really growing at the rate that you think they're growing at. And that's it.